Magandang araw! April Marcas po, ang inyong pretty ate sa Edtech Unit. Alam ba ninyo na may webinar o online training session ng Edtech Unit tuwing Sabado? Ang araw na ito ay nakalaan para sa ating mga mahal na kaguruan upang turuan sila ng mga bagong kaalaman at kakayahan sa paggamit ng makabagong software at applications para sa pinaka-epektibong paraan at lubos mapagpusay ang kanilang paraan ng pagtuturo. This is also our refresher session for our beloved teachers to enhance their skills in technology. Every Saturday, we will conduct webinar sessions for teachers about the use, advantages, and relevance of different blended learning software applications. Ang webinar seryeng ito ay magsisimula ng alas 9 ng umaga hanggang alas 12 ng tanghali para sa morning session. Magsisimula naman ng alauna at magtatapos ng alas 4 ng hapon ang afternoon session. You can watch us in our DepEd Edtech Unit Facebook page, Educational Technology Unit YouTube channel, DepEd Tayo, and DepEd Philippines. Kita-kits tayo tuwing Sabado!
Magandang araw! Sir Wilbur po, at your service. Narito ang ETUlay upang gabayan ka sa inyong pag-aaral upang lubos na maunawaan ang iba't ibang paksa o subject. Ang ETUlay ay isang free online tutorial class na pinangungunahan ng ICT's Educational Technology Unit sa pamumuno ni Undersecretary Elaine Del P. Pascua. Ang programang ito ay hindi lamang para sa mga bata, kundi ito rin ay magsisilbing gabay sa mga magulang at mga guro kung paano nila ituturo o gagabayan sa bawat asignatura ang kanilang mga anak o mga estudyante. Sa kasalukuyan, ang self-learning module mula sa rehiyon ng Calabarzon at kilala sa tawag na pivot ang ginagamit sa ating ETUlay online class. Kaya ano pang hinihintay ninyo? Ihanda na ang inyong mga ballpen o lapis, papel o kwaderno at samahan kaming itulay ang pagkatuto para sa bawat batang Pilipino. Sama-sama tayong magtutulungan para malampasan ang mga hamon sa panahong ito. Halina't matuto kasama ang inyong online tutor sa oras na ito.
Good afternoon, everybody. I am your tutor for this afternoon to our subject, Introduction to Philosophy of the Human Person. So for now, we are now in the quarter 3, week 3. And our topic is the human person as an embodied spirit. So I'm your tutor for this afternoon. As I was said, I am your tutor, Eresa. Okay, before that, I want to greet first our SDO Olongapo City, our SDS, si Madam Lailani Samson Cunanan, our ASTS, Dr. Maylene Minimo, our EPS in Social Science, si Madam Edwina Espiritu, and our principal in New Cabalan Senior High School, si Sir Samson S. Bukiran. Hello po, Sir Sam. Manood ka, Sir, sabi mo kanina. Okay? So, in this week 3, methods of Nasa week 3 na po tayo, no? The human person as an embodied spirit, we have two objectives. So the first one is recognize how the human body imposes limits and possibilities for transcendence. And number 2, evaluate own limitations and the possibilities for their transcendence. Okay? So Intro to Philosophy is a core subject. Meaning, lahat po, kung open to sa grade 11, lahat ng grade 11 merong Intro to Philosophy, or for grade 12, all grade 12 students, all strand, no, meron ito. Okay? Kaya dito sa Olongapo City, lahat po ng grade 11, ongoing ang aming Intro to Philosophy. Okay, are you ready, learners? Okay, ready your modules, your pen and paper, samahan ninyo ako at sabay-sabay nating itulay ang pagkatuto sa ating Intro to Philosophy. Okay? So let's have a review first ng ano na ba yung mga na-discuss natin sa ating subject matters. No? On the first week 1, doing philosophy, we define what is philosophy. At sabi nga rito, philosophy is the love for wisdom. Okay? And after po nun, after the definition of philosophy, diniscuss din natin, no, yung reflection. Kasi ito yung mga mahalagang bagay sa ating lesson. Sa reflection, sabi nga, this is an activity that requires a person to examine his or her thoughts, feelings, and actions and learn from experiences. Minsan ba sa buhay natin, or madalas ba, no, everyday in our lives, ginagawa ba natin itong reflection? Because sa filosofiya, mahalaga ang pagtingin natin sa ating sarili, pag-reflect natin sa everyday na ginagawa natin. And there are two kinds of reflections. We have the primary or partial reflection and the secondary or holistic reflections. Ano ba yung dalawang ito? Kagaya na nabanggit ko nung first lesson natin, doing philosophy, sa reflections, when we do holistic reflection, tinitingnan natin ang isang bagay in a bigger pictures. Kumbaga sa isang malaking pizza, isang buong pizza, tinitingnan natin ang ating nagawa o ginagawa. Pag sinabi namang partial reflection, bits by bits or pieces by pieces, tinitingnan natin, no? Ini-examine natin yung nangyari or ginagawa natin sa buhay natin. Okay? For example, kung ngayong araw na to, no, tinitingnan ko ang buong kabuuan ng maghapon ko. Ito ba ay maayos? Ito ba ay maganda? Ito ba ay nakasunod sa kung ano ba ang gusto kong mangyari the whole day? No? So that is the holistic reflection. When we say partial reflection naman, bits by bits, tinitingnan ko sa umaga, ano yung ginawa ko? Natupad ko ba o nagawa ko ba ng maayos yung ginagawa ko ngayong umagang to? Nagawa ko ba yung weekly home learning plan ko na nakasaad ng tama? Okay? After weekly home learning plan, gagawin ko yung aking pag-i-encode ng grades, nagawa ko ba? So bits by bits, bits by bits or pieces by pieces, nire-reflect mo yung ginagawa mo. Well, in holistic, yung buong kabuuan, no? Kung paano mo ginagawa yung nagawa mo the whole day. So that is reflection. Yan ang isa sa mga important lessons sa ating lesson 1, doing philosophy. Well, on the second week, diniscuss naman natin yung truth. No? Ano ba yung mga different theories of truth? We have number 1, the correspondence theory, or this is the basic idea wherein what we believe or say is true if it corresponds to the way things actually are based on the facts. It argues that an idea that corresponds with reality is true, while an idea which does not correspond to reality is false. Like for example, the sun is the center of the universe. So that is a sample of correspondence theory kasi meron siyang basis na kahit saan mo siya tingnan, true siya, totoo siya, dahil the sun is the really center of the universe. Or the sky is blue kapag tag-init, or the sky is white kapag cloudy season. No? And then number 2, coherence theory. When we say coherence theory, this is in order to know the truth of a statement, it must be tested as part of a larger set of ideas. Ibig sabihin, kapag ito, out of 100 person, lahat sila nag-agree na the sky is blue, out of 100. So this statement is true. Or out of 1 to 10 person, sinabi nila na the sky is white. Nakita nila the sky is white. So yung 10 person na yon, nag-agree sila that the sky is white. So the statement is true. No? When we say pragmatist theory naman, it states that a belief or statement is true if it has useful application in the world. Pero kapag hindi, no, it is not true. So yung tatlong theory na yan of truth, isa yan sa mga important key points sa lesson 2 natin, methods of philosophizing. So now, we are now in the lesson 3 or week 3, no? The human person as an embodied spirit. Actually, pag sinabi mong the human person as an embodied spirit, parang iba ang ibig sabihin nito, no? Yung spirito, yung body, yung mind, no, talaga nagko-connect yan. Kaya nga tingnan natin, let's analyze these pictures, the mind, the body, spirit, no? Analyze the concentric circles and write a short interpretation based on your understanding. Sa mga learners natin, may questions na ganito. So, ang answer natin dito, depende yan, no? Magbavari naman yan sa kung paano natin tinitingnan yung circles na yan. No? Pero the main concept behind the mind, body, spirit is that we are all more than just our thoughts. We are also our bodies, our emotions, and our spirituality. Magkakakonect kasi ito eh. All these things combine to give us identity, determine our health, and make us who we are. So these 3 circles, they are all interconnected. Huh? The mind, body, and spirit. So, in this module, lesson 3, mahalaga na makita natin yung mga key points or mga keywords na kailangan nating maintindihan. So let's have a definition first. So we have one, we need to identify what is the definition of man. No? So it is generally and commonly defined as to represent the entire human race. Pag sinabi natin man. Pag sinabi namang human, it is a term used to refer for various classifications and species. For a living man, human is under the classification of mammalia. That is for science. Pero pag sinapag ang basis naman natin is Bible, no? Man came from Adam and Eve. So that is human. Pag sinabi mo namang human being, human terms used to separate man from other human classification like animals. Pag sinabi mo namang person, this refers to an individual who possesses self-awareness, self-determination, rational mind, and the capacity to interact with other and with himself or himself. Personhood, general terms, refers to the state of being a person with unique, sacred, and ethical status within him or himself. And human nature, itong human nature, when I was working sa previous work ko, no, madalas binabanggit to, ano ba ang natura ng tao or ano ba ang nature ng human? Ano ba ang pagkakaiba ng human sa hayop? So, when we say human nature, this is a general term refers to the deepest and natural behavior of a person that distinguish human from animals, a collective traits that form and consider the very essence of humanity. Nobody can be considered man without human nature. So, itong 6 na terms na to, ang isa sa mga key words dito sa ating lesson. Man, human, human person, personhood, and human nature. So, napakahalaga ng 6 na words na to. So, sa mga learners natin ngayon, if you are holding the book, na learner's manual, nandoon ang definitions ng mga to. Even if you are holding the pivot modules, nandito rin yan. Kasi napakahalaga ng 6 na keywords na to. So, what is human person? Let's find out, no? There are 2 general kinds to distinguish a human person. No? For the definition provided, the human and the person respectively are defined with classified origins. No? Sabi ko nga kanina, from the biblical perspective, we came from Adam and Eve. For science naman, we came from 8 under the class Mammalia. So, human person, from time to time, no, learn how to live beyond what was traditional through the various human evolutions from hominid to Homo sapiens, or the modern man, people learn the concepts of power, politics, and economics. Kaya nga yung 3 components niyan, the soul, mind, and spirit is very important. And in distinguishing a human person, there are 2 general kinds. The first one is the cognitive self. Pag sinabi natin cognitive self, this is the essential components of a human person that deals with the what of a person, which includes the human person's belief, desire, dreams, and intention. So lahat ng beliefs natin, desires, dreams, ang values natin, this is our cognitive self. No? Tandaan po natin ito, 2 general kinds of the cognitive self. Ito yung hindi natin nakikita na meron tayo. Okay? Lahat tayo meron nito, syempre. And then the second one, we have what we call the physical self. Something can be seen in his or her physical appearance. Nakikita natin to. This is the who of a person, no? Which includes our body type, our strength, our appearance, ano yung color ng skin natin. So, everything na nakikita sa atin, this is our physical self. So, tandaan po natin, there are 2 kinds, no, of a human person and how to categorize the human person. We have the cognitive self and we have the physical self. Pag sinabi natin cognitive self, ito yung self natin o meron sa atin, the what of a person na meron tayo pero hindi nakikita. Pero, maaari itong makita ng ibang tao through what? Kung paano tayo makisalamuha sa ibang tao. And this one, we have the physical self. Ito yung physical appearance, the first glance na nakikita sa atin. Kung ano yung unang nakikita sa atin agad, our colors, yung itsura natin, body type natin, no? Yan. So, after finding what is human person, let us find what is embodied spirit naman. Ano naman yung tinatawag nating embodied spirit. So embodied spirit is an animating core living within each of us. It is known to be the driving force behind what we actually think, do, and say. Actually, it is indeed the reflections of our total being by which our sensations lead to our human feelings, emotions, and decision. The usual and known connotation what comes to our mind when we hear the word embodied is always materialized or become flesh, no? The embodied spirit. We normally believe and conclude of a spirit becoming flesh. Actually, pag sinabi mong embodied spirit, ano ba yung unang pumapasok talaga sa isip natin? Usually, kapag mga estudyante, kapag sinasabi na, ma'am, ito po ba yung kaluluwa natin na umaalis sa ating katawan? Actually, when we say embodied spirit, no, sabi nga, sa konteksto ng Christian philosophy, this is the inseparable union of human body and soul. Inseparable, which also means that a body and soul work together at all times. No? Hence, we can safely say that pag sinabi mong embodied spirit, that the body is not separate from our soul, just the soul is not separate from our body. Naintindihan ba natin? No? Pag sinabi natin, inseparable union of human body and soul. The human body and the soul, they are all connected. Our human body cannot be separated to our soul, and our soul cannot be separated from our body. So, ano ba yung mga qualities, no? What is a human person as embodied spirit? Ano yung mga qualities na meron nito? Kasi pag sinabi mo, as an embodied spirit, human beings demonstrate different qualities. We have 4 qualities actually, no? Number 1 is what we call the self-awareness. Self-awareness refers to a person having a clear perceptions of oneself, including his or her thoughts, emotions, identity, and action. Actually, this is our ability of one's consciousness to look inward, thus discovering the presence of our self. Are we, pag sinabi mong the self enables a person to experience our inner world. Are we really aware of what is going on in our body? Okay? Are we self-aware? Kumbaga. Kaya, as a human person, mahalaga na meron tayong ganitong qualities, self-awareness. At kapag we believe, no, kapag tayo, no, do you believe that these statements are true? If tayo as a human person, naniniwala tayo na meron tayong self-awareness, sabay-sabay nating sabihin to, no? Sabi, I am a person, I am alive, I exist, I am here, I am present, I am living at this very moment. Napakahalaga ng statement na to. Do you believe that these statements are true, no? If yes, then congratulations, you are a person possessing your awareness of yourself. No? Napakahalaga ng number 1 qualities na yun, self-awareness as a person. Kagaya nga nung nabanggit ko nung unang slides, no, yung reflections. Kasi sa reflection, dun tayo nagkakaroon ng self-awareness. Partial and holistic reflection or primary or secondary reflections. Kasi when we do reflections, nagkakaroon din, isa yan sa mga mahalagang katangian kung bakit napuposes natin itong self-awareness. So another characteristics or qualities of a human person. No? A human person is able to connect and interact with another person, an animal, or an inanimate objects. Kaya ba natin makipag-connect or makipag-interactions with another person? Pag kaya natin, we call this externality. Our interactions with others define our existence as a person. So, napakahalaga na ba? We have self-awareness. Number 2, our externality. Yung kaya nating makasalamuha sa ibang tao. At hindi lang sa tao, no? Pati sa hayop at sa iba pang mga nabubuhay, kagaya ng halaman, no? Paano ba tayo makipag-connect sa halaman? Actually, yung mga plantita natin, no? Isa na yan. Ako, hindi man ako ganun ka sa halaman, kahilig sa halaman, pero sa tuwing nakikita ko sila dito kasi sa bahay namin, maraming halaman din. No? Yung asawa ko mahilig magtanim-tanim ng halaman. So, dinidiligan ko yan araw-araw. Meron akong butterfly flowers na tuwang-tuwa ako, no? Kinakausap ko pa nga yan minsan. So, your ability to interact with that, even sa animals, no, is what we call externality. Kasi nga, sabi nga, no man is an island. So, kailangan nating makipag-interact, makipag-connect sa ibang tao. Even in our organizations, we need partnership. Even in senior high school, no, sa work immersion, paano ka ba mag-work immersion if you don't have partners? no? Mga external partners. So, externality. So, reflect on the relationships you have established ever since. Tingnan natin, no? Kapag, if you answer, if you feel that you have this kind of qualities, sabay natin sabihin dito, I am a person, I value others, I interact with others in meaningful ways, I value my relationship with others. So, napakahalaga ng statements na ito. And you can say that you have grown as a person because you had a meaningful interactions with the people you met throughout your life. Number 3, qualities of a human person as embodied spirit. We are not determined by others because we have interiority. We can direct the course of our own life. Ito yung tinatawag nating self-determination, this is the capability of a person to make choices and decisions based on their own preferences, monitor and regulate their actions, and be goal-oriented and self-oriented. So, in self-determinations, no, mahalaga na makita din natin, no, thus human beings are free. No? However, no, sa self-determinations, mahalaga yung tinatawag nating actions. The goodness and the badness of our actions. And when we talk about action, pumapasok na dito sa libro na hawak natin, no, yung tinatawag nating consequences of our actions. And in consequences, meron tayong good and bad consequences. Ang consequences ay depende kung ano yung nagawa natin. We have good consequences and bad consequences. So tingnan natin, based on our actions. I have a little example here. Video here. Sabi ko dito, let's examine this one. Little Wax is playing in the living room while his mom is in the kitchen. He accidentally bumps into a table, causing a vase to fall. Upon hearing his mom went to the living room and saw him standing near the broken vase, she asked, "Did you break the vase?" So what do you think Wax answer will be? Sa tingin nyo, mga viewers, ano yung magiging sagot ni Wax doon? Kung tinanong siya ng nanay niya doon sa broken vase na yon. Tingnan natin yung consequences ng action niya. Sasabihin ba ni Wax na nabasag niya yung vase? Or sasabihin niya na hindi niya nabasag yung vase? At ang pusa ang may kasalanan dahil tumalon ang pusa. Ano sa tingin ninyo? Okay? So, my dear learners, senior high school learners, in every action that we do, no, there is always a consequences. Ito ang isa sa mahalaga sa lesson na to, no? Sa lesson 3 na to. So, if you do good actions, kapag maganda yung ginawa ninyo, maganda rin yung consequences na babalik sa inyo. Kapag pangit yung ginawa ninyong actions, no, pangit din yung magiging return nito. Parang sa ano lang yan sa world religion, no, yung tinatawag nating karma, no? Kapag maganda yung ginawa mo, good karma. Pag pangit ang ginawa mo, bad karma. So, in these qualities of a human person as an embodied spirit, as a self-determination, pumapasok yung tinatawag nating consequences. So, in every actions that we do, always think of the possible consequences na mangyayari. So, kapag nagsinungaling ka sa parents mo, so, what do you think will happen? No? Manganganak ang kasinungalingan na ginawa natin. No? Pag inamin mo yung totoo, at least peacefully, okay, panatag ka na. Tapos na yung nagawa mong pagkakamali. Mapagalitan ka man, at least, diba, you take the consequences of your action. So, in this statement, ano kaya magiging sagot ni Little Wax sa kanyang mother? So, depende yan na pwedeng sabihin ni Wax na nabasag niya yung vase, pwede rin siya magsinungaling sa kanyang mother. Pero, sabi ko nga, in every actions that we did, we need to consider the good and the positive and the negative effect of our actions or the consequences of our actions. So, yun yung nakalagay doon sa ating libro, mga learners natin, no? Okay. Next, qualities of a human person as embodied spirit is our dignity. Finally, a human person has an inherent value and importance. This is what we call the dignity of the human person. That is why no amount of money can equal the value of our human life. Napakahalaga nito, no? Ang tao ay may dignidad at hindi ito pwedeng mawala sa kanya. Maliit pa lang, sanggol pa lang yan, baby pa lang yan, okay? Meron na, andyan na yung dignity niya as a person. Nasa sinapupunan pa lang yan, no? Napakahalaga. Meron na rin siyang dignity as a human person. And if we are stripped of our rights, no? Ibig sabihin nun, we are stripped of our humanity. No? And kaya nga minsan titingnan natin sa mga palabas na may mga napapanood tayo, may mga slaves na tinatanggalan sila ng kanilang karapatan. And they are not being treated as a human person. No? Kaya mga door learners, as a senior high school learners, mahalaga na maintindihan natin at isa-isip natin na ang bawat tao ay may dignidad at ito ay hindi matatanggal sa kanya. So ano yung mga qualities of a human person as embodied spirit? As a person, we have awareness of ourselves, okay? And we have self-determination. And under self-determination, okay, pumapasok yung actions natin, the consequences of our actions. We are able to reach out and interact with others, our externality. And we have dignity. No? Mahalaga na we have that four qualities as a human person. Napakahalaga po niyan. And my dear learners, wala man tayong edukasyon sa pagpapakatao subject sa senior high school. But here in senior high school philosophy subject, napakahalaga na matutunan natin itong apat na qualities na to as a human person. Okay? So after learning the qualities of a human person as embodied spirit, ang pinakamahalaga din in this lesson is the human transcendence. Ito yung ability natin to surpass our limits. Okay? You are able to transcend your limit through your physical and mental abilities. Paano ba to? No? So we have encountered persons who complain of any given situations or accept the reality or status in life. No? Minsan naririnig natin sa TV, no? Mahirap maging mahirap. Okay? Totoo naman, mahirap po maging mahirap. Pero kung iluluklok natin yung sarili natin sa kahirapan, no? Talagang magiging mahirap tayo. Pero sa totoo lang, ang daming mga tao na mahirap, kagaya din natin, syempre ako isa din ako mahirap, hindi naman tayo mayaman, pero nagsusumikap tayo sa buhay. No? So that is transcendence. You need to surpass your limit. Kung kaya mong lampasan, kung sa 1 to 5 exam, hanggang 2 lang ang kaya mong, hanggang 2 lang yung mga scores na nagagawa mo, as a human person, yung 2, lalampasan mo siya, pwede mo siya maging 3, hanggang sa maging 4, hanggang sa ma-perfect mo yung exam na 1 to 5. So, in human transcendence, kailangan ma-surpass natin yung limitations natin, ma-reach natin yung talagang capabilities natin as a human person. Actually, yung human transcendence na to, kapag may mga baha, may mga bagyong dumarating at tayo ay nasa talagang yung energy natin ay nasa highest level, nasusurpass natin yung limits natin. Paano? For example, nangyari na to sa akin, no, nung kami ay binaha. Actually, yung mabibigat na bagay na hindi ko kayang gawin in a normal situations, nagagawa ko out of height of emotions natin. Kaya, my dear learners, human transcendence, nangyayari sa atin to, kayang-kaya natin gawin to. We need to surpass our limitations. Tandaan natin na kaya natin gawin ang mga bagay-bagay basta gugustuhin natin. In our module, sa mga may hawak ng mga libro ngayon, meron kayong activity doon na think, no, what I can and what I can do. So ilalagay nyo lang doon ano yung mga bagay na kaya ninyong gawin at ano pa yung mga bagay na mas kaya nyo pang gawin na lalampas pa doon sa kaya ninyong gawin. Actually, walang mali sa sagot na yon. Okay? Lahat yon tama. Basta lagyan nyo lang yung mga kaya ninyo. Si teachers nag-base lang yan sa rubrics. Kaya walang mali sa mga outputs ninyo. Okay? Okay, naintindihan po ba natin in these lessons? So una, mahalaga na malaman natin yung mga qualities natin as a human person. We have self-awareness, externality, self-determination, and last, pero napakahalaga, we have dignity as a human person. And the last one, the human transcendence. So hello sa aking mga cousins na nanonood sa Bisaya. Hello, Ate Eileen. Okay. So, may questions po ba, my dear learners? Okay. So, hello po sa inyong lahat. Okay, so let's have a quiz. Okay. Assessment na po tayo kung walang mga questions. We have number 1. Sabi, Marie is very cheerful and friendly to her classmates. What aspects of the human person is being described in the statement? So, Marie is very cheerful and friendly to her classmate. Is it A, cognitive self, B, physical self, C, psychological self, or letter D, sociological self? Nabanggit ko to kanina. No? The answer is letter A, cognitive self. Kasi hindi mo naman ito nakikita sa kanya. Okay? Pero nararamdaman mo to sa kanya na siya ay isang cheerful and friendly na tao. Next, number 2. A criminal who have committed a very heinous offense can still be considered a human person despite of his cruelty and inhumane act. The statement is A, true. The dignity is still retained in spite of his actions because it is his inherent right. Or letter B, false. The dignity of humans are removed once they don't treat other people just and right. Or letter C, neither A nor B. Or letter D, none of the above. Ano kaya yung tamang sagot din, no? A criminal who have committed a very heinous offense can still be considered a human person, despite of his cruelty and inhumane act. Remember our 4 qualities, the dignity of the human person. The answer is letter A. We have that the right answer is true. The dignity is still retained in spite of his actions. Okay? Kasi our dignity is our inherent right. Hindi yan mawawala sa atin as a human person. Mula sa sinapupunan ng ating ina hanggang sa pinaka-end of our life, we have human dignity. Number 3. Carlo is a tall person with brown hair and brown eyes. What aspects of the human person is being described in this statement? A, cognitive self, B, physical self, C, psychological self, or letter D, sociological self. Ano kaya mga learners? The right answer is letter B, our physical self. Tandaan natin na this is our qualities as a person. Okay, we have 2 qualities, the cognitive and the physical self. Pag sinabi mong physical self, ito yung nakikita sa atin physically, no? Ito yung unang glance na nakikita sa atin. And then the cognitive self, this is our inherent or yung mga qualities natin as a person na hindi nakikita agad-agad ng mga tao because ito ay internal. Number 4. Which of the following best describes the concept of embodiment? A. Human person is essentially his or her body and nothing more. B. Human person is essentially his or her spirit and nothing more. Letter C. Human person is essentially the unity of his or her body and spirit. Or letter D. Human person is essentially a separate entity of the body and the spirit. Ano yung best describes the concept of embodiment? The right answer is letter C. The human person is essentially the unity of his or her body and spirit. Sabi nga, di ba kanina, it is inseparable, no? Hindi siya nasa-separate sa atin. It's always within us. Number 5. Which of the following experiences describe the concept of embodiment? A. Joy attaches a sentimental value to a pair of rubber shoes which was given by her mother. Letter B. Kim associates love with hypothalamus, a part of the brain that is responsible for feelings. Letter C. Ivy recalls a happy moment in her life and still feel the same happiness she felt at that moment. Or letter D, Trina received a pat in her shoulder from her best friend and felt completely relieved at that moment. So, in this fourth statement, ano kaya yung nagdi-describe the concept of embodiment? So, the right answer is letter B. Next, number 6. It is the term commonly used to represent the entire human race, human being, human nature, man, or person. The right answer is letter C, man. Number 7. Vincent loses his arm and leg due to a car accident. He loses a part of his physical body which make up his physical identity. Which of the following statement is true about the concept of embodiment? A. Vincent can still be considered a human person despite losing a part of his identity. Or B. Vincent is not fully considered a human person since he lacks one aspect of his identity. Or letter C, neither A nor B. Or letter D, none of the above. The correct answer is letter A. Siyempre, kahit naman nawalan siya ng isang part ng kanyang body, he can still be considered as a human person. The right answer is letter A. Number 8. Which of the following is not an essential component of the human person? Kanina nakita natin to unang-una, no? A. Conscience. B. Mind. C. Soul. Letter D. Spirit. The right answer is letter A. Next. It is the term used to describe humans who are not just mere humans, but different from animals with inherent birthrights and exact origin of his or her classifications. Human being, human creature, human nature, or human person. So what is the right answer? Terms used to describe humans who are not just mere humans, no, but different from animals. The right answer is the human person. And lastly, eto, madalas tinatanong sa amin to ng boss namin dati, no, before ako sa DepEd. It is a general term which refers to the deepest and natural behavior of a person that distinguish a human from animals. It consists of collective traits that form and consider the very essence of humanity. Human being, human nature, man, or person. Ano ba ang pagkakaiba ng tao sa hayop? Ito yung nagdi-distinguish dyan. So, the correct answer is the human nature. So, tandaan po natin, in this lesson, the human person as an embodied spirit, okay? Mahalaga na malaman natin yung mga qualities natin as a person. We have self-awareness, we have dignity, no? And we have externality and self-determination. Those 4 qualities is important as a human person, as an embodied spirit, and this makes us transcends to our self, na yung human transcendence, na kailangan masurpass natin yung limitations natin. Mag-go beyond tayo to our limitations. Lampasan natin yung kung ano lang yung meron tayo ngayon. Wag tayo, kung yung sinasabi natin mahirap maging mahirap, alam natin yun. Pero wag nating iluklok yung sarili natin sa salitang tayo ay isang mahirap. Pero kailangan lampasan natin yun. Mag-struggle tayo, gawin natin lahat ng paraan para tayo ay guminhawa sa buhay. Marami tayong mga story dyan. Sa Facebook, makikita natin yan. Isang tricycle driver, nakapagpag-graduate siya ng isang magna cum laude. Kanina lang may nabasa akong gano'n. Merong isang buong pamilya, ang father niya ay farmer. Pamilya sila ng farmer. Pero buong anak niya, napag-graduate niya sa kolehiyo. No? Kaya nga sabi nga, ang kahirapan ay hindi tayo malulugmok lang doon. Kung tayo ay kikilos at gagawa ng way natin, isusurpass natin yung limitations natin. That is human transcendence. Always surpass our limitations. Huwag tayong mag-stick doon sa I can, yung kaya kong gawin, yung kaya mo lang gawin. Kung hindi, gumawa tayo ng bagay na mas at mas pa sa kaya mo lang gawin. Okay? That is one of the best lesson in this topic, human person as an embodied spirit. Okay, so napakaganda ng lesson na to. Sana marami tayong natutunan. And my dear learners, lahat ng activities natin doon sa ating module, wala pong mali doon. Lahat yung tama. Magbe-base lang si teacher sa rubrics natin. Okay? Because it is lahat ng sagot, lahat ng answers doon ay puro mga self-answered, more on personal matters. Okay? So if you have questions, you can comments or suggestions, you can email at edtech@deped.gov.ph. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat sa ating mga tagapanood. Hello sa buong SDO ng Olongapo City, sa New Cabalan Senior High School, sa aking mga cousin sa Bisaya na nanonood ngayon. Okay, and Sir Mark John Zamora, hello po sa iyo. Okay, from Mabayuan Senior High School. Yun lamang po. Maraming salamat.
Sigurado ako na marami ka na namang natutuhan sa ating ETUlay tutorial session ngayong araw. Tandaan, ito ay hindi lamang para sa ating mga mag-aaral, kundi pati rin sa ating mga minamahal na guro at mga magulang na kaagapay natin para maituloy ang pagkatuto sa kabila ng nararanasang pandemya. Patuloy ding sumubaybay sa DepEd TV para sa mga araling ginawang video episodes. Mapapanood ito mula Lunes hanggang Sabado, alas 7 ng umaga hanggang alas 7 ng gabi sa inyong mga telebisyon. Abangan bukas mula 1:00 ng tanghali ang iba pang aralin sa ating ETUlay free online tutorial session sa mathematics. I-like and subscribe at manatiling nakasubaybay sa ating ETUlay tutorial session sa DepEd Edtech Unit FB page at Educational Technology Unit channel sa YouTube at sa DepEd Tayo at DepEd Philippines social media accounts. Paalam!